Hello everyone, today I'm here to do a mashup review. Mashup review is pretty much where I review 2 or more books in one single video. The reason for that is because some books I don't feel like I have too much to say about it to garner a full review video, so I decided to do these every once in a while so I can just go ahead and review 3 books for you in one video and make it nice, short, and sweet, and let you know what I thought and tell you a little bit about it. I will be reviewing today are The Love That Split the World by Emily Henry, 1+1 by Jojo Moyes, and Lady Renegades by Rachel Hawkins. As always, I will leave annotations right here for you to click on if you want to see one particular book reviewed, or if you are on mobile devices and you can't click on those annotations, I'll leave the times below for each individual book in case you want to skip to that book. So without further ado, let's get to it and let's start reviewing these books. So the first book I want to talk about is The Love That Split the World by Emily Henry, and the reason why I wanted to read this is because I have read so many amazing reviews on Goodreads. This is said to be a mixture of Friday Night Lights plus time travel, and I'm a huge fan of Friday Night Lights, so I was like, yes. I just really wanted to read it because of all those things. The book is about a girl named Natalie who lives in this really small Kentucky town, and she feels kind of out of place, and she always has these visions or dreams of this woman she calls grandmother that visits her pretty much every night. And then one night this grandmother visits her and tells her, you have 3 months to save this boy, and then she kind of disappears, and then things start happening, like she'll be looking at a church, and all of a sudden it'll turn into a rolling field, and it's just getting weird, you know? And so that's what the whole book is about. That's what you get the gist of. It's got definitely time travel elements in it. So like I said, I read a lot of Goodreads reviews on it, and they said the writing was beautiful, the love story was amazing, everything about the book was amazing, and when I finished reading it, I didn't feel the same. I'm honest with you, I really didn't enjoy this book. And I know that might be hurting some people's feelings. If you love this book, that is awesome. I think that's great. Everyone has their own opinions. I personally did not like it really at all. And when I first started reading it, it was very slow paced. I thought it was almost a ghost story because the girl saw this vision of a grandmother. I'm like, this is a ghost story. And then all of a sudden it had time travel in it. And the love, really, I didn't like it. You know, I do read a lot of books where there's insta-love in it, and I don't hate insta-love. You know, there are some books that pull it off better than other books, you know, because insta-love happens, especially in YA. It's around a lot. So I've gotten to the point, you know, where if it's done okay, I don't hate insta-love. But if it's not done, you know, decent, I'm not a huge fan of it. This book, I think, didn't really do the insta-love well. It was just a very odd insta-love. The main reason why I didn't enjoy this book, because it had too much going on. So many different elements were thrown in this book, and I just think it made it chaotic and made it confusing more than anything. I felt confused after finishing this book. The last 100 pages were a whirlwind of confusion. I was like, what the crap is going on? That's what I thought. That was my mentality throughout the last 100 pages. So this book had so many different things. You had the time travel, then there was a thing of adoption, then, you know, they're not fitting in, and then, you know, family issues, and then the insta-love, and the end. It was just, and, you know, the ghost, and then, you know, it had a lot of Native American things in it, which I did like a lot, but overall it just had too much in it. I felt like it was clustered. It was just so much. I felt stressed while reading this. I felt stressed and confused. So at the end of the day, I didn't really enjoy this. I thought I would love it because of the reviews on Goodreads, but I just didn't like it. And, you know, I'm sorry if that hurt your feelings, but we're all about honesty here, and I hope we can be nice to each other. So I gave this book a 2 out of 5. I'm not, you know, completely mad that I read it. You know, it's always good to read a book, but I just didn't enjoy it. I really felt like it could have been a lot better. I will say the writing was pretty nice. I did like the writing, but like I said, the thing that just really got me was the too many things going on in it, and it muddled it down. Next up is 1+1 by Jojo Moyes. If you've heard of Jojo Moyes, which I'm sure you have heard about Me Before You and the amazingness that it is. Is it that amazing? Yes, it is. I loved it. It was one of my favorite books of last year. I will always think of high regards of Me Before You. And I went into this book, I'd finished it after The Love That Split the World. I felt like I was just reading a lot of fantasy this year, and I really needed something a little bit more simplified, you know, a contemporary, a little bit of love and family stuff. And this really cured it for me. I did really enjoy 1+1. This is all about a single mom named Jess, who has a daughter named Tansy, who is about 10 or 11. And she also has a stepson, Icky, who is actually her husband's Ryan's son from a previous marriage, and all of a sudden her husband's just not in the picture anymore. He decides to go home to live with his mom, and she is left alone with these two kids, trying to raise them, trying to get by with money, and just really struggling. And then we have Ed. Ed is going through a lot of different financial things with his company and, lawsuits and all that kind of stuff. Actually cleans Ed's home. So through a pattern of fate and all that stuff, Jess is trying to raise money for her daughter Tansy to go to this really elite school because she's like super smart in math, which, girl, please, I would love that because I am the worst in math. He has to get her to this competition so they could win money to go to this school, and Ed so happens to drive them, and it's all about their journey in this car and all about the weekend. This book in itself takes place in about like a week or two, really, because they're in this car and they have to get to this one particular location, and it's all about family. This book screams family, which I loved. This son is... Will I say it was good as Me Before You? No, I mean, Me Before You was such an emotional roller coaster, and I was so invested in the story. I loved it that I don't think any really other novel can compare. It's its own thing, Really good family book. I love reading the bond between Jess and her children and how she's just trying so hard to do things right by them, to try to raise them right, to always be like, we may be in the worst situation ever, but we can do this. We can get out of it. I love Jess as a character, and I really loved her as a mom. She was phenomenal. And Ed, I love, obviously the romance that's going to go on. It was great. Overall, I really enjoyed this book. Will I say I loved it? No, it was a good contemporary, just it's a good little quick book to get through and, just read and have a good time, really. There is a lot of depth in it. There's a lot of bullying that has to be going on. There's a lot of abandonment issues with the father, a lot of, financial issues. So it's got a lot of meat to it as far as, going on to it. But overall, I did really enjoy it. I gave it a 3.5 out of 5. I know that might be a low rating because a lot of people like this book. I liked it. I just didn't love it. I think I'm just comparing it to Me Before You because it's by the same author, but it was still really good, and I'm really happy I read it. I plan to read all of JoJo Moy's books because she just has a way with words and twining you into the story that makes you just fall in love with these characters, and I definitely loved all of the characters in this book. So definitely pick this one up if you have read Me Before You. It is not as emotional. It will not make you cry, really. It's just a really good, happy family book, but with still some meat and some, substantial stuff in it. The last book I'm going to be talking about today is Lady Renegades by Rachel Hawkins. This is the third and final book in the Rebel Belle trilogy. So I will say, if you haven't really read the first two, maybe not watch this last segment, but I'll try not to spoil anything, so in case if you do watch it, it won't be that big of a deal. I'm very hesitant going into this book because I love Rebel Belle. If you don't know what Rebel Belle is about, it's about a girl named Harper who is a Southern belle, she is on the cheerleading squad, she wants to be class president, she wants to be prom queen, all that stuff. She is just a Southern belle. And one day, through a weird chance of fate and stuff, she accidentally becomes a paladin, and a paladin, her job is to pretty much protect David Stark, who is her arch nemesis in school. He's out of the paper, they never meld well together, they just always clash, and so it was just an hilarious, funny book that I love so much. I thought it was a great first book. I couldn't wait for the second one, Miss Mayhem. And then Miss Mayhem came out, and I didn't enjoy it. I felt like it was a filler book. I felt like it could have been a long novella, honestly. I just didn't think a lot happened in that book. I really wanted more. And then, so I didn't really enjoy that one. But I still planned to read Lady Renegade. So it came out, and then I realized how short it was. Guys, this book, by the way, the third and final book in the trilogy, it's only 263 pages. That's it. I read this in 2 days. That's how little it is. So when I saw that, I got even more apprehensive of how small it was. I was like, well, must not happen in this book. So what did I think of it? It was better than Miss Mayhem. It was okay. I really felt like Rebel Belle would have been better off as a one-shot, just a singular, just as a standalone, honestly. If they would have kind of wrapped it up nicely in Rebel Belle, I would have been happy with that, and that would have been one of my favorite standalone books. I really didn't feel like we needed these last two books because I didn't feel like a lot of stuff happened. I felt like in this book in particular, a lot of characters were gone. Ryan was not in this book at all. We didn't get a lot of David. I felt like it was mainly Harper, which, yes, the story is mainly about Harper, but I really wanted more characters. I really wanted the other characters who I've come to love in this book, and they weren't really in this book. And the ending was very predictable. It all happened very fast. That's the one thing about this book. I felt like not a lot happened, but then everything happened so fast when it did. I don't know how to explain it. That's just how I felt. So, I mean, it was better than Miss Mayhem, but it just still, I needed more. I wanted more oomph, you know. 3 out of 5, honestly. It was okay. I'm glad I finished the trilogy. It's never bad to finish a trilogy, but Harper's such an awesome kick-butt character that I love reading her. I think she's great, but I just didn't really love Lady Renegades. I just thought it wasn't okay. I'm not mad at the ending. I'm not mad at the way it was done. I just felt like it could have been more. Okay, so that was my mashup review. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you like these mashup reviews, please let me know, because I do like filming them, because I try to make sure I film something for each book I read. Now, I say that, but I don't do that a lot. But I'm trying to be better. So if you like these mashup reviews, let me know, seriously. And if you've read any of these books, let me know what you thought. I know I was harsh on some of them, but that's just how I felt personally. And, you know, if you loved any of these books that I mentioned that I didn't really like, that's okay too. I think it's great that you love them, because it's, you know, every individual has their own personality and thoughts and opinions, and that is great. So please let me know what you thought of these books. Let's have a nice open discussion about it, and I will see you guys next time.